Ryan, and I did the Anasazi people. The Anasazi were located in Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and a bit of Texas. They grew, because of their climate and area, they grew things such as squash, corn, and beans, as well as some berries. They also, to get food, they would hunt, so they were a hunting and gathering people. Because they did not have money, they traded items such as food and like clothing and objects between their own tribe and other tribes. They had a class system within their tribes, meaning the peasants were like the farmers, and then there were the artisans and skilled tradesmen, and then there were the headmen or the chief. And the headman or chief was you became the chief or headman if your ancestors had been that or had ties to that person. This was primarily a man, but there were some accounts of women doing this. Right here I have Anasazi house. So right here, this is actually the top, the ground layer, and then there's a hole dug into it, along with sticks that were used for protection right here. Then along here, there are petroglyphs that wouldn't have been there, but that's just to show some like drawings that these people used. And thank you, that's my activity. The Anasazi people died off most likely because of famine and lack of crops, as well as overpopulation.
The Mayans, they worshipped maize or corn as their chief god. And so here I have a little cornfield, and they lived on the Yucatan Peninsula, right here, as you can see in the map. And their economy, they didn't have a currency, they just traded. So right here you see this guy with his corn. He said 7 pieces of corn for 3 cocoa beans. So he wants cocoa beans. And over here you see Spanish influence. The Spaniard is giving this guy a sword, which they probably didn't have. And right here is some of their war technology, like spears and shields. And yeah, these Mayans were pretty cool.
What they traded, or as used as currency, their only real currency was just goods and needs that they had in their house, and they would trade them for things that they needed more in life. Like they used salt for food, and they usually traded gold or silver, or not gold, just silver, for things like that. Gold was only kept by the emperor because they thought it was the sweat of their sun god. And the Spanish conquistadors, they affected the Incans because when they came over to the region where, Newland! What are you doing?
Roman, keep going, dude.
Okay. The Spanish conquistadors affected the Incas because when they came over to the region where the Incas were, they brought diseases and plagues that the Incas were not used to, and it slowly weakened their armies and defenses, and then the Spanish conquistadors were able to take over them. So what I did for my project for the Incas is I made a mountain range. This is the Andes Mountains, and I did Machu Picchu in the middle. So Machu Picchu means like city. Well, it is a city between valleys. This was going to be valley, but I guess mountain valley. It's okay. And so this is the city in between.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I did the mound builders. The mound builders were people famous for building mounds. So the mound builders would build mounds, and they could come in different shapes and sizes. There's a famous serpent mound they built. So this is just a normal mound. So these mounds, they'd put people and prized possessions in them. If they're leaders, they'd put very special things in them, like jewelry, possibly gold. And so they lived in the eastern woodlands of what we now know as of America. They were affected by a disease and partial wars, maybe. They do not quite know if wars were a factor, but they know that diseases were one of the factors that drove them out of their civilization. And so their currency would be gold, jewelry, silver. All precious items would be traded. Their government was pretty stable until abandonment is what they said happened.
Hi, I'm Joey. I did the Aztecs. The Aztecs were very, very warlike people. They found where they were going to settle by their god told them where they saw an eagle with a serpent in his mouth on a cactus. That's where they should settle, and they saw one of those in the middle of a swamp, so they kind of had to find a civilization out of that. And they invented aqueducts, causeways, and floating gardens. This right here, I made a floating garden. They invented floating gardens because they had a large population and they didn't have a lot of place to plant crops and stuff like that, so they made floating gardens. They didn't have a currency, but cocoa beans were very high valued because they really loved chocolate. So if you really wanted to get something, you would offer cocoa beans for it. They grew squash, corn, beans, and stuff like that. Their civilization died off by Spanish conquistadors. They came in, and part of it was by some of their diseases that the Spaniards were immune to, the Aztecs couldn't handle, so they died.
Hi, today I'm going to talk about the Pueblos people. They lived in Mesa Verde in cliff houses, so I made a little cliff house right here. They ate corn, beans, sunflower seeds, and squash. That's what they grew there also. They spoke Utu, Aztecian language, and they were the first people in the region to build permanent settlements and cultivate crops. Thank you.